Hello, and welcome to the Growing Our Family podcast, Pregnancy Edition, where we'll discuss topics ranging from your very first positive test all the way through delivery. I'm your host, Brittany, and I'm a new mom to a beautiful baby boy. Throughout my pregnancy, I did hours of research on everything that came my way. Join me on a weekly chat where I'll share my knowledge and personal experiences with all of you. You are listening to episode 10, the second trimester. You've made it to the second trimester. This is what most women consider to be the best trimester. Here's what you can expect from weeks 13 to 28. How is your baby developing during this time period? The second trimester is usually the best because you have finally started to show, but you aren't so big that it's uncomfortable. Hopefully your morning sickness has dwindled and your energy levels are back up. Your uterus is shifting upwards in your abdomen, which means less trips to the bathroom. So the second trimester begins with week 13. So your baby is doing a lot of developing this week. They are forming bones, developing their vocal cords, and working on his or her insides. Up until now, their intestines have been growing inside the umbilical cord, but now they are moving to the appropriate spots inside baby's body. The second trimester also comes with an increased sex drive. Hopefully. Enjoy this time because your belly gets bigger. You may not have as much energy as you do now. You'll also want to be sure to continue taking your prenatal vitamins for folic acid so your baby can develop their nervous system and spinal cord. You can also get this from other foods like whole grains, leafy greens, and milk are a few, but you'll want to make sure that you get at least 600 mcg per day. Speaking of milk, you'll want to increase your calcium intake to help with baby's bone development. It can also be a natural way to suppress heartburn, so if you're experiencing any heartburn, just start drinking a glass of milk and hopefully that'll work for you. By week 14, your baby is now the size of an orange. They have hair starting to grow on their head and a little bit of peach fuzz growing all over their body to help keep them warm. The color of baby's hair might change after birth. Our baby was born with a little bit of brown hair, but it all fell out shortly after birth and his blonde hair started to grow in after about a week or two. Baby is now producing meconium, which is the black tar-like poop that they'll have after the first few days after birth. And if you start to feel any sharp pain in your lower belly, especially when coughing or sneezing, try not to worry. This is most likely round ligament pain and is caused by the ligaments stretching as your belly gets larger. You will also want to wash your hands a little bit more than normal, stay away from sick people, and eat lots of vitamin-rich foods. Your body suppresses its immune system during pregnancy, so it doesn't try to fight off the baby. But this opens you up to other cold and the flu. By week 15, your baby is practicing for life on the outside. They are working on breathing, sucking, and swallowing so they can survive all on their own after birth. He or she is also moving more inside your belly, but you likely won't feel any of these movements for a few more weeks. Week 15 was when I had my dentist appointment and found out about pregnancy gingivitis. Your pregnancy hormones can make your gums more inflamed and you might notice more bleeding while brushing your teeth. But don't let that stop you. It's extremely important to keep up dental care during your pregnancy, and now is the perfect time to make sure your dentist visit is scheduled. You should also start noticing a difference on the scale as baby starts to get bigger. A good rule of thumb is 1 pound per week, but if your doctor or midwife doesn't seem concerned about your weight gain, then you're probably doing just fine. I really wouldn't worry about it. I gained like 60 pounds during my pregnancy, and every visit my doctor said that everything was looking good, so I just kept doing it, and I ended up losing all the weight really quickly just through breastfeeding. So everybody's different. Everyone's going to gain a different amount of weight. So really try not to compare yourself to other women because it's just not healthy, and your body knows what it needs, and as long as your doctor or midwife says that you're doing okay, then you're doing perfect. By 16 weeks, your baby can now hear inside the womb. Studies have shown that they can actually recognize familiar songs and it can help calm them after birth. Crazy, right? So pick a lullaby that you love to sing and you can start singing to your baby at home, in the shower, or in the car on the way to work. By now, you might be showing, but don't worry if your bump doesn't look like someone else's. Some women have a very pronounced bump by now, and others still have a fairly flat stomach. Both are totally normal, and you have nothing to worry about. What you can look forward to is people are going to start asking you uncomfortable questions. I got asked all kinds of strange things, like, how often do you pee during the day? Or are you planning an epidural? Are you planning to go natural? Have your boobs gotten bigger? Can I touch your stomach? And hopefully people will actually ask you the last one instead of just reaching out and grabbing your belly, which also happened to me a number of times. People are weird, and apparently personal space and privacy does not exist when you're pregnant. So I'm sorry to tell you now, this is just going to be the normal. And if you're not comfortable with people touching your stomach or like getting close to you inside your personal space, don't be afraid to speak up. Just because everyone seems to want to doesn't mean that you can't tell them, I'm sorry, but I'm just not comfortable with that. Or you can even take the funny approach, and as they reach out to touch your belly, you can reach out and touch their belly, which works especially well with middle-aged men that have a slight bit of a beer gut. So by week 17, as baby starts to get bigger, you'll begin to notice more aches in your body, unfortunately. Now is a great time to start sleeping with a pregnancy pillow to help keep your hips aligned and take the pressure off your back. Make sure you have a supportive chair at work, a good mattress at home, and you keep up the walking. This was about the time I started seeing a chiropractor for sciatic pain, and it was truly amazing. I highly suggest finding a chiropractor, but make sure they've worked with pregnant women and are comfortable with it. Studies have shown that chiropractic care during pregnancy helps with delivery because your body is properly aligned. I don't know how true these studies are, but I'll tell you what, going to the chiropractor every few weeks during my pregnancy was the highlight of my day, or my weeks even. I looked forward to going and seeing my doctor like during the workday, and I left there feeling like I could literally fly afterwards. My joints were so loose and I could move my head and my back didn't hurt. He even did things to like help with the swelling in my feet and like massaged my feet for me. So my chiropractor was amazing, and they are so great if you can find a really good one that adjusts you based off of what you need versus some chiropractors will just kind of pop and crack your back, and they do the same thing for every person, and it doesn't matter what your issues really are. So just look at reviews and maybe ask around to friends or other pregnant moms if they know of any chiropractors that do pregnant women specifically, or if they know of a chiropractor that will accept pregnant women. You can also join a pregnancy yoga class, and this will also help with aches and pains. Cat and cow positions are great for sciatic pain, and I ended up doing those every single night before bed, and it made such a difference. Week 18, baby is moving around even more, not just with kicks and punches, but he or she is also yawning, hiccuping, and possibly even sucking their thumb. Are you feeling a little extra limber? Your body is now producing a hormone called relaxin, which helps relax the ligaments to aid in opening them up for birth. However, it doesn't just target birth-related ligaments. All of your joints are loosening up, which aids in the back pain, a change in posture, and it also softens the muscles of the esophagus, which is causing all of your heartburn. If the heartburn is causing you grief, you can try eating small, frequent meals. Make sure to chew your food completely. Avoid spicy foods, sit upright for a few hours after eating, keep your head elevated, and cross your fingers that one of those tricks will work for you. If not, you can try drinking milk, chewing sugarless gum, and if those fail, eating Tums or other heartburn medications. You can talk to your doctor if Tums just aren't cutting it for you. There are multiple over-the-counter medications that they can prescribe, and then if those don't work either, there's prescription medications that can help with your heartburn that are safe for both you and baby. So speak up. It's really important that you're comfortable. There's a lot of things in pregnancy that make you uncomfortable. So if you have a say in some of this, I would definitely take advantage of it. Now is a great time to make sure you're getting enough water throughout the day to help with muscle cramps. During the second trimester, most pregnant women get cramps or Charlie horses in their legs, especially at night. Drink lots of water throughout the day and do some calf stretches before bed to help prevent this. Try to drink your water in the beginning of the day instead of trying to chug it all at night when you realize that you haven't drinking enough, because that can cause you to get up multiple times throughout the night to go to the bathroom. If you try to drink most of your water in the morning, then you end up doing a lot of bathroom breaks during the day, but that's a little bit better than having to lose out on sleep because you have to pee so much. Don't be worried if you start to see some swelling in your feet or ankles, but be sure to bring it up to your doctor to rule out any other serious symptoms like preeclampsia. Week 19. Now that your belly is getting bigger, your underwire bra may start to get uncomfortable as it digs in. If you haven't yet, now's a great time to switch to a nursing bra. Most of them will have adjustable straps to accommodate your changing rib cage, and you will appreciate having these after delivery if you're attempting to breastfeed. I really enjoy the I Love SIA bras off of Amazon because they're not just cheap, but also extremely comfortable and easy to latch and unlatch with one hand. You can read my full review of them, and I'll post a link on my show notes if you're interested in checking them out or just reading my review of them. They're really cheap. I think last time I checked, they were about $30 for a 3-pack, which comes out to $10 a bra. And I actually have 2 packs of them, and I wear them all the time. So really recommend them. If you're looking for a nursing bra, check out those ones on Amazon. You will not be disappointed. You might also have noticed some stretch marks. About 90% of women develop stretch marks, so it's totally normal. You can try creams or moisturizers to help with the itching, but there really isn't much you can do to prevent them altogether. Stretch marks are typically hereditary, so if your mom got them, chances are you will probably get them as well. You are now to week 20 and you're halfway done with this pregnancy. Have you felt any baby kicks yet? It's totally okay if you haven't. Every pregnancy is different. Most women feel their first kicks between 18 to 22 weeks, and I felt mine about halfway through week 20. At the beginning, they feel a little bit more like gas bubbles or flutters, but they usually occur at the same spot every time. There are a lot of factors that'll go into when you feel baby's first kicks, and this is like your size, muscle tone, the position of baby, and things like that. So don't worry if you haven't felt anything yet. You will soon enough, I promise. You should also be able to find out the gender at this week's ultrasound if you didn't already find out using the sneak peek test. As your baby gets bigger, your belly button may suddenly pop out. Mine never got to the point of being an outie, but it was pretty flat by the end of my pregnancy, and I have a super innie normally, so I was a little surprised by the fact that it even got to the point it did. I'd pretty much just had a flat belly button, but most women, their belly button will pop out. So by week 21, it's time to mix up your palate a little bit. Not only is baby swallowing amniotic fluid to practice swallowing and digesting, but they also get nutrition and hydrate from it. The taste of your amniotic fluid is constantly changing depending on what you eat, and some research even shows that this can affect their taste preferences after birth. Growing this baby is a lot of work, and with it comes an increase in appetite. Carry healthy snacks with you for when you're starving, but in between meals. My favorite go-to snack was homemade trail mix and carrots and hummus. By now, the swelling in your feet may be getting worse, so it's a great time to start putting your feet up whenever you get the chance. Purchase a footstool for under your desk or find a way to recline during your lunch break to give those feet a rest. I also highly recommend getting a pair of compression socks or like 3 or 4 pairs of compression socks and wearing these every day. This will really help with the swelling in your feet, and by the end of the day, hopefully your feet won't look like giant sausages like mine did. Week 22. Your baby has now hit the 1-pound mark and is the size of a bell pepper. Your little one is growing so fast and developing even faster. He or she has a strong grip now. Their sight is improved to see light and dark better, and their muscles are getting stronger as they continue to kick you. You might start feeling contractions, but don't worry, they are just Braxton Hicks. These are practice contractions to help your body prepare for the real deal when the time comes. Braxton Hicks will be inconsistent and will not get stronger and closer together like the regular ones will. You can try drinking a big glass of water, take a shower, and relax to hopefully get them to reside. But just remember that if your contractions are getting stronger or closer together, to call your OBGYN, midwife, or even just call the L&D at the hospital and let them know what's going on. Week 23. Do you have a dark line running down the center of your belly? This is called the linea nigra and is very common during pregnancy. You can thank your pregnancy hormones for this, along with any other discolorations in your face, skin, or even on your nipples. These color changes should go away a few months after delivery. Pregnancy is a common time for a lot of women to get a UTI. Because the baby is pressing on your bladder, it can prevent you from emptying it all the way when you use the restroom. Try to lean forward while using the bathroom so you get everything out, and don't hold it. And you'll also want to make sure to wipe from front to back and drink lots of water. UTIs during pregnancy can present differently than before pregnancy, so if you have any concerns at all, just check with your doctor. A lot of women report that their UTIs weren't actually painful. They just had to pee a lot more than normal, even normal than pregnancy normal, and they just had a little bit discomfort, but it wasn't painful like a normal UTI is. So like I said before, if you think anything is off, just call your doctor, because this is something that you don't want to mess with, and it can turn into something a little bit more dangerous if it's not taken care of right away. Week 24. Your baby is now viable outside the womb, although we would prefer them to keep cooking for a little bit longer. Are your rings getting a little tight? Swelling in your hands is normal, and a lot of women have to remove their wedding rings right about now. After taking mine off, I would have about 10 heart attacks a day thinking I had lost them, so I had to find a replacement. I bought a fake ring at Target in a bigger size and a couple of silicone rings just as a placeholder until after the pregnancy. You can check out my full review of the RinFit silicone rings. I'll post the link in my show notes, or you can also just stay tuned and listen to my full review later in the episode. Your doctor may also be prescribing the glucose test right about now. It's typically done between weeks 24 and 28. This is done to test for gestational diabetes, which is a pregnancy-specific form of diabetes. Some women hate the taste of the drink, while others, like myself, don't think it's half bad. For me, it just tastes like a flat orange soda from McDonald's, but it was extremely sugary, so be prepared for that. Before you go take your glucose test, find out from your doctor if they want you to fast or not. Some do and others don't. So you just want to make sure to follow their instructions. My doctor did not have me fast, so I just ate a very light breakfast of, I think I had some scrambled eggs and a little bit of bacon. And then for lunch, I had a salad. You don't want to load yourself up with sugars, and you also don't want to completely fast, because I've actually read that fasting can increase the blood sugar. So just check with your doctor again or your midwife and find out what they want you to do before you go in, because you don't want to find out after you're already there that you were supposed to fast for the previous 24 hours and then have to reschedule it and show back up at a later date. Week 25. Your baby's nostrils have started working this week, and they're able to breathe in amniotic fluid to help them practice the active breathing. They will also start to develop the ability to smell different scents inside the amniotic fluid. Now is a great time to take care of some pregnancy checklist items, and I'll list those a little bit later. And this is great to do now before your energy takes a little dip. You can also throw in some fun items like designing the nursery or deciding on baby names. Some parents love to share the baby's name as soon as they decide, while others want to wait until after he or she is born. Either way, just know it's your decision and don't let others influence you to do anything different. Some people may act like they don't like the name, but no one's gonna say anything when your baby's already born and you're already named them that. They're not gonna be like, oh, I don't like that name. Versus when the name isn't actually associated with a person yet, people are very easy to criticize it, even though these are names that you love and that you decided to name your child. So some people just decide not to share it with anyone else. Week 26. Your baby has finally opened up those little eyelids. You can now shine a flashlight at your belly and see if they'll react with a kick. This is also a big milestone for brain development. Your little one is now able to react to sounds with movements, kicks, or even changes in heart rate. As your body continues to loosen, thanks again, relaxin', your weight increases and the center of gravity is shifting. You might find yourself to be a little bit more clumsy than normal. Just remember to take a little extra time going up or down stairs and be careful on slippery surfaces like when you're in the shower. I took a small tumble down the last 4 stairs towards the end of my second trimester, but luckily the baby was totally okay. You never think it'll happen to you and you feel like you have the right footing, but some days you're just kind of moving a little bit faster than you should and you lose your balance, and it happens so quickly, and next thing you know, you're on the ground. So just be a little bit more careful than you normally are, because you're not only worried about your safety, but you're worried about the safety of your little one now. Week 27. Baby is now able to recognize voices and might start to kick in response to hearing you talk. Now is a great time to start talking and singing to your baby on a daily basis. He or she will be able to recognize mom and dad's voice, and your voice will actually help calm them down during pregnancy and after they're born. You can also start doing kick counts to see when your baby is active and what their schedule looks like. You typically want to feel 10 kicks within 2 hours, but will most likely feel them in less time than that. This is a great time to sign up and start taking a multi-week birthing class. There are a lot of different types of classes, but check with your hospital for classes. Hospital-specific classes will not only cover birthing techniques, but will also go over their hospital policies, procedures, and medications. It's always a great idea to tour the hospital beforehand so you aren't trying to find the labor and delivery while you're actually in labor and rushing through the hospital with all your bags in tow. Week 28. You've made it to the end of the second trimester. Your baby is starting to position themselves for birth and will hopefully be head down at your next doctor's visit. This will most likely be your last monthly visit, and from here on out, it'll be every 2 weeks until you hit the 36-week mark. After that, it'll be every week. A great goal for this week is research car seats. Most hospitals will not let you leave without one. You'll have to decide between an infant seat and a convertible seat. The main benefit to an infant seat is that you can remove it from the car without waking a sleeping baby. You can read more about my review of our Chico KeyFit 30 infant seat, and I have that on the blog, and I'll also link to that in my show notes. So here's a little list of to-do items for the second trimester. It's a great time to take care of a lot of logistics while you're feeling well and have that added energy before you hit the third trimester. First, you want to call your insurance and see how long you have to add baby to the coverage. Normally it's about 30 days, but you don't want to be stuck with having to pay for any pediatrician visits or anything like that if the timing is less. Next, you can also look into the steps needed to get your insurance-covered breast pump. For a list of questions and a complete guide, you can check out episode 4 or read my blog post, which is also on my show notes. Start your registry and begin researching what items you want to add to it. I also have a complete guide to the top registries and all the perks that come with it, along with completion discounts and free things that they'll send you or you can pick up at the store to get you and baby started and try out some samples. If you look at episode 5 on the podcast, you can listen to it or you can read it on my blog, and I will link to that as well in my show notes. Next, you'll want to talk to your boss or HR department to determine what needs to be done before maternity leave and discuss benefits while you're gone. You don't want to wait until your baby is born to discuss when you're going to be coming back. They're going to want to know everything like that before you leave on maternity leave, and sometimes your baby can surprise you with when they decide to show up. Start a workout routine, even if it's as simple as doing a few Kegels and some squats every day. This will really help with your birth and recovery time afterwards. If you haven't already, start looking into childcare options. They book up quickly in some areas. So if you need any help making that decision, you can also check out episode 7 on this podcast, or you can read my blog post in my show notes. And I go over the different types of childcare, whether that's a facility or in-home daycare, nannies inside your home, really like all the different options, questions to ask, and it's really a complete guide to helping you make that decision. You can now find out the gender. You should be able to determine the sex, if you want to know, at or around your 20-week ultrasound. Now you can start planning and shopping for that little girl or boy. When you get closer to the end of your second trimester, you can start looking for a pediatrician. I covered this in detail in episode 8, but you can also check out my blog post on it in the show notes. And finally, you can figure out baby shower logistics if you're planning on having a shower. And this includes like dates, who's going to host it, which it's okay to host your own shower, location, guests, food, and themes. You are now 2/3 of the way through your pregnancy. The second trimester is the best because your baby is doing so much developing during this time, and you are hopefully in a grace period between the first trimester morning sickness and the third trimester discomfort. As you work your way through the second trimester and into the third, just remember that you are almost finished and you will soon be holding this little bundle of joy in your arms. This week, I decided to talk all about my RinFit silicone rings, and these are the rings that I used when my wedding bands no longer fit my little chubby fingers. Not only because I gained so much weight during my pregnancy, but also you just start to swell during pregnancy. Your circulation isn't as great. So most women swell in their feet, their ankles, legs, and hands. So this is my review of these rings. So there comes a point in most pregnancies where your rings will no longer fit. This is usually due to bloating, but regardless, it is still frustrating. Some women decide to remove their rings and keep them off for the rest of the pregnancy. There is nothing wrong with doing this at all, but if you're like me, you will have 100 mini panic attacks per day when you reach down and don't feel your ring on your finger. I went about a week without any rings on my fingers, and I never got used to the feeling. This is why I decided to purchase the silicone rings on Amazon. These rings by RinFit are perfect because they are thin, lightweight, inexpensive, and have a cute design. They come in a perfect little box to keep them all together, and I love all the colors it comes with. I would usually stack like 2 to 3 on my finger at a time, and it was so easy to color coordinate with any of my outfits. But don't worry, if that's too much planning for you, you can always stick to the basics like white or black. The best part was the stretchiness of the bands. I had some pretty intense swelling going on in my hands, so it was nice to know I could always remove these rings at the end of the day. It also made them so comfortable to wear without being too tight on my finger. They never left an indent, and I also never had an issue with them sliding off during the day. Not only did my fingers get too big for my wedding band, but my skin also became hypersensitive. I broke out in a weird rash around my finger, and this was when I removed my ring for good. These silicone rings are perfect and didn't irritate my skin at all, which is impressive for my super sensitive skin. I'm allergic to a lot of different metals, and if something isn't pure gold, then I typically break out in a rash. So I did not have high hopes for these like little $10 pack of rings off of Amazon. I figured I'd be able to wear them for about a day before they started to irritate my finger again. But I never had any issues, and I wore these every single day for the rest of my pregnancy. Sizing. So I wear a size 6.5 wedding band, but I ordered these in a size 7 due to my swelling. Most reviews suggest sizing up, but I think it really depends on your specific size and how you plan on wearing them. If you plan on stacking them, multiple at a time, you'll want to size up. However, if you think you'll only ever wear one at a time, maybe you might want to size down. If you go to the link and look at them on Amazon, they actually have a size chart for you, so you can look at what size to order for yourself. After pregnancy. These are a great product because you can continue to use them after your pregnancy. If you lead an active lifestyle, these are perfect for wearing while swimming, playing sports, or any other activity that you're afraid of losing your expensive rings or damaging them. I also love keeping one of these in my purse to wear while I get my rings cleaned. It normally takes about an hour after I drop off, and I end up shopping around in the other stores. Without this little silicone ring, I have a slight freakout moment when I look down at my finger and it's completely empty. It works as a perfect placeholder in the meantime while I'm shopping around and just waiting for them to finish up. Another great post-pregnancy use is during vacations. Sometimes you'll not want to wear your expensive and irreplaceable rings on vacation. Whether this is because you're traveling to another country or just plan on being very active, these are great rings to travel with. So for cons, there was only one downside I could think of for this product. I had a few formal events to attend during my pregnancy, and these just weren't fancy enough to wear in my opinion. The first event, I just wore the white one, and this worked fine, but I went out and bought a cheap metal fake ring from Target. This fake metal ring would have never worked for everyday wear, as the stone fell out after the 4th use, and I had to super glue it back into place. Plus, it was about 3 times the price as this pack of 6, and my finger did not like the fake metal. I had to paint clear nail polish all over it so my finger didn't break out. So the silicone rings worked way better than the fancy fake ring that I bought, and they're way cheaper. Overall, I think this was a great find, and I'm happy to still have these rings to use during vacations and anytime I have to remove my wedding ring. For such a reasonable price, I'm not sure how you could possibly go wrong. I've seen other silicone rings for $8+ per stackable ring, and that just seems a little ridiculous for what you're getting. You can check these out on Amazon, and I'll link to them here in my show notes for you to just go check them out. They come in 6 different colors, so there's white and black, and then there's this really pretty maroon color, a teal, a pink, and a purple. So they kind of go with any outfit you could possibly wear. And they're just really easy to put on and take off. And I just think they're so convenient. I highly suggest checking them out. As of right now, when I'm doing this review, they are only $10.99 for the pack of 6, which is a great deal. So that's it for this week. Thank you so much for joining us on Growing Our Family Pregnancy Podcast. Make sure to visit our website, Growing Our Family. That's growingourfamily.com to see today's show notes and product links. Also, don't forget to rate and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you download your podcasts so you always get the latest episodes. If you love the show, the easiest way to support us is to actually click on any of the Amazon links I have in the show notes or within my blog post. I am an Amazon affiliate, and recently I've also become a Target affiliate, which means I do earn a very small percentage of anything you purchase through my links at no additional cost to you. So if you click on the link, even if you don't end up buying that particular item, I still get a small kickback from anything you add to your cart within 24 hours of clicking. You definitely don't have to at all, but it is a great way to help support the show if you are enjoying the content. Once you've had your baby, or if you want to learn more about life after delivery, check out the Growing Our Family Parenting Edition. Please join me next week for another episode.